Welcome to video training number 3, guys. Copy my real estate investing business. This is Randy, the REI Rockstar. On the previous video number 1 and 2, we walked through some other apps, and specifically walked you through the property pipeline app, and I left off just after analysis. So I want to pick up where we left off here. Let's get right into it. And again, if you don't already know about me and you're just catching video number 3, no cheating. Go back and watch the other 2. Check out the blog, sign up for the newsletter, get a ton of free stuff, including some contracts, some free hacks. And you'll get these videos as they come out, which is always a good blessing. So let's take a look here. So we left off on the negotiation part of acquisitions, right? So let's imagine that acquisitions contacts the lead, they open it up, they can see what we'd like to get the house for according to what my software says. They can easily see what the person bought the property for, the seller in that case. Well, they need to start doing some pretty ninja negotiation tactics. Now, some people, depending on their sales background, are good at this, guys. And remember, as an investor, you're wearing all these hats. So there's some of you folks out there who totally comfortable with being on the phone or doing sales in person, and yet others are more comfortable with the analysis part, and yet others are more comfortable with the marketing part, right? You like to dress up your business and your business cards are all fancy. I got it. But that's why when you get your first couple checks, you should definitely focus on outsourcing some of these things and bringing some folks on board onto your team. And in this particular case, the sales part, I came up with some questions that in the beginning I would ask when I was, one man machine, and I just shared them with my acquisitions team. So when I hire someone, they're all different levels of, sales. Sometimes they get it right off the bat. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. So that's why I have these questions. So one of the things we do is we establish value. You're going to have this weird game, and I have this whole other training on how to talk to sellers. But there's usually this sort of basketball goes back and forth, balls in your court on, who says the first number loses. So one of the techniques we use is we kind of, if they don't upfront tell us like this is what I want, we know what our number is, but we want to hear from them first. So we ask these questions: how much in repairs are needed to get this property to rent? It's still a number is the point. It's still a number. You're going to get a number, and then you kind of massage it into what do you think the property would appraise for if it was completely renovated. Notice we didn't ask what do you want to sell it for, what are you looking to get, and whatever. This particular person wanted 250, but we reiterated at the beginning of the call. But if there was no sales price and they just fill out the form and there's nothing there, we need to find out what they want. So what do you think the property's worth today? So you got what it's worth above that, right? Fully fixed up, the ARV. You have what it's worth today, the current market value. And then you just straight ask them, what's the least you can take if we pay all closing costs and, pay you cash, close quickly, right? So think about that. That kind of put them in a weird position because the seller is forced then to go, okay, I can't just tell this person over the phone or in person, a number and then not justify the number. So let me put in perspective here to be more clear. Let's say they say, I would like to sell this property for 180, but just 30 seconds ago they said fully fixed up, it's worth 190, and 30 seconds before that they said it needed 50 grand in repairs. Okay, so that's very hard to justify. You can't say the house is worth 200 fully fixed up, it needs 30, 40 in repairs, but you want 180. It's just not going to happen. So it kind of puts them in a position where they go, oh, these folks are serious. They know what they're talking about. They've done the research on my property. I better give them something real if I want to do business here. And that's what these questions are designed to do. My acquisitions, once they've done it a couple of times, they know it like the back of their hand. They'll pull out just one of these questions. They don't even need to pull out all of them. And then whatever number they say, we don't care if it's within our price range or not. We say, was there any wiggle room on that price? And create as much spread as possible, because you don't know what your exit strategy is going to be until you find out what the numbers are. And then, once we kind of figure out what's going on there, notice I went right into negotiation. We don't waste any time. We figure out what are we looking at here? What part of the bucket are you going to be in? Which bucket are you going to be in completely if you're out of the ballpark, right? And then if we kind of know it's going to be a deal based on what they were saying, in this case, they wanted 185. The cheaper properties went for like the 170s or something like that. If they're like, yeah, I only want 180, 160, 170, then we know that they're a little realistic and we could put in perspective to them. And then we just kind of brush it off and ask about, okay, well, Is it rented right now? Looks like above our customer service or administrator found out it was, you're living there as a primary residence. Any idea what it went for? If there is a tenant in there, we would get the actual rent rate and the lease renewal. Very important, guys. If there's a tenant in there, find out if it's a month to month or if it's going to renew soon. And then just be clear about what they're going to give you. Are they going to give you the washer, the dryer, the fridge, microwave? And very important questions here, guys, especially if you're going to do something outside of a normal transaction like a takeover payment or this really doesn't apply anymore because I come from a short sale background, but anytime the homeowner was applying for some type of hardship, especially if it was through government, we ask if they filed a claim in the last 7 years, if they filed a bankruptcy or a loan mod. And I still would get that out of them just to kind of figure out, has this person gone through some trials and tribulations with the property? You know, just to figure out, were they motivated in the past? And can I heat her up a little bit? You know, put a little fire underneath them and make them a little bit more motivated. You want to push those pain points when you're negotiating. You don't want to make it comfortable, right? It's kind of, it's kind of, kind of, you know, an ill-informed way to do it, right? Because you might think conventionally, oh, I want to make them feel comfortable and I want to blah, blah, blah. No, you want to create this situation where if there is any doubt in their mind that, they can sell it on the MLS and get a retail buyer and get the highest price, you want to turn that up. You want to really open that up because I tell you, some people, they're in denial. Some people are in denial about the divorce, the bankruptcy, or whatever the reason that the MLS is not a good solution for them. So that's why we ask those questions and we get it out. It helps negotiations. All right, so here's the magic of property pipeline, guys. We got another 10 minutes to go here. We've got a calculator. So, let's say that you're going back and forth with the homeowner and they're just not really, they're saying they want to sell, but they're not coming off the retail price. And you can kind of break this down for them here. I think we agreed up at the top that the property was worth about 185. So you can tell the homeowner, okay, well, let me kind of put something in perspective for you in terms of time. Since you said you want 175, 185, initially you wanted 250, but I put in perspective for you. I showed you that the properties around your neighborhood just don't sell for that. And if somebody came in as a retail buyer right now and they offered you 97 cents on the dollar, 95 to 97 cents on the dollar, that's going to get you about 177. Did you see that? Did you see how that filled out automatically? Now, keep in mind, Mr. Seller, retail buyers have to get financing, right? They got to pay an agent. You do. So that's another 6% off that, right? 11 grand right there. Now keep in mind, you said your mortgage payment was $1,200 a month. Okay, you're going to hold this for another 3 months. That's $3,700 in taxes, mortgage, HOA. And then you got your closing costs of 1%. That's $1,850. Mr. Buyer Seller, I realize you want 180, but just right there, those costs of selling and selling in 3 months, by the way, because that's the days on market right now, is going to net you about 160. Okay, that's 160 grand. So, and while you're doing that, we give these what we call gaps. Remember earlier, I had the top gap up at the top. These are going to be our 4 offers. These dollar amounts represent, for our acquisitions team, the asking price of what the seller wanted originally versus our offer. So they can see what technique is closest, and obviously the retail is usually the closest, but this wholesale offer, which we usually do wholesale, takeover payments, some other technique such as rehabbing, and then a retail listing with an agent, this is how far off the seller was originally. So that kind of puts things into perspective, and then we go, well, listen, you know what? You're going to net 160 if you retail sell it in 45 to 90 days, especially if your retail buyer's got financing. That could take quite a bit, right? They're stacking different loans together. They're trampling to your house. It falls out of escrow at the last minute. Realtors don't communicate properly. It's a nightmare. We're going to pay all closing costs. We're going to pay settlement fees. We're going to give you a net offer of $141,000. You see how I put that in perspective and so our acquisition team does it the same way every time? Sometimes we'll just say, hey, can you meet us in the middle from this point? Because at at 141, that's a 76% discount. You know, um, if you're a little shy, gun shy, you can hit them at the soft pass. Well, our offer is going to be somewhere around 168 because not every call ends up with a close over the phone, right? Some of them end up with a contract in person where you have to go on the appointment and kind of work them a little bit. And if you get that feeling, you can just hit them with the soft pass. All the soft pass is, by the way, is the 3 lowest properties in the neighborhood. At about usually I do about 80 to 90% of that dollar amount. The 3 lowest properties in this neighborhood sold for 177. So 10, 15% off that, I know that's a safe number. And so if the homeowner ever, by the way, goes, oh, I just want to know what you guys are going to offer me. I just want to know what you guys are going to offer me. I just want to know what you guys are going to offer me. If they're one of those types, depending on what part of the country they're from, you can go right for the soft pass. Well, you know what? If it's in the kind of condition that we expect it to be in, you said it was built in the 70s, we're going to be at about 168, 169. That going to work for you? Because if it does, we can keep talking a little bit more. And if you can justify it's been fully rehabbed, we can come up from that. Okay. So um, second offer, rehab offer, we could offer them 162 instead of 141 and take it down ourselves. If we take over payments, the offer is 154. These are all pre-made, guys. It's all automated for the acquisitions team. And if we retail it again, they want to retail it. They're going to want to put out their 185 and get 176, net that 160. Those 4 offers are there every single time for acquisition. So depending on the numbers, the situation, the equity the homeowner has, if we take over payments, we look for 20% equity. We look for 10 to 15% cap rates, depending on the neighborhood. We'll go from there. And then we look at our profit. Here's our resale prices. If we take down the property at 141, we wanted to make 10 grand. We sell for 151. If we rehab the property and totally rehab, we put it back out there at 182. All that good stuff. So then our profit is down here. Depending on the technique we do, look how much we would make if we take it down ourselves. Now this is gross profit. This doesn't account for this rehab second offer here. Doesn't account for hard money, private money, doesn't calculate the cash on cash return or anything like that. This is just gross profit. But you can get a nice check here if we wholesale the deal. A nice check. So this is just one deal here. If we take over payments, by the way, in this third offer, we'll still make 10 grand if we wholesale it out the gate, but cap rate's not too strong, 5.89%, gross cash flow at 15 grand, net cash flow 10K. But if we hold it for a while and sell it retail, we got some nice profit there. So I want to finish up with Section 8 is after whatever amount the seller agrees to, and we book that appointment, we enter in the offer price, the offer status, and we outline what contracts we need so that acquisitions gets ready with the right contracts, and it moves on to the offer. So check this out. You can use PDF Escape, DocuSign, or one of those signer online deals, but we use GlobiFlow right into Podio. So we fill out the information from above in all these areas. We click a button, boom, the contract gets attached, and we can email and do what we have to do. Just to push a button, just bam, right there. The earnest money, the date we're going to close, all that gets filled out. And if it's a other investors deal, we do a 15-day flex option. If it's something to do with taking over payments, power of attorney, short sale, we got that ready to go. And then funding is something unique to my company, right? If I want to take it down, we send it over to funding, which is me basically, and I get the right kind of funding, private money, hard money, transactional funding. We got under contract. Let's get it funded. Take out money out of our IRA, 401k, whatever, and I'll line that up. Now, typically that part just gets skipped. If we wholesale it or it just, we don't have to fund it. We're going to assign the deal or whatever. And then it makes it to dispositions, which I still do, by the way. Working on getting that person hired. But dispositions, I love talking to buyers, calling, emailing my buyers. I still show properties. And in fact, I showed one the other day to a buyer, Brian, and I just love doing it. I love going out, getting out into the neighborhoods. And, I'll market the property with a lockbox code, check off where I'm going to market it, put it out there. If we get an offer in, and it just makes it to closing. So close date, title company, and we close the deal. Copies of the HUD-1s uploaded, boom. That is everything. And the whole time we got comments on the right. Copy this, guys. I hope you enjoyed the training. Take care.